Hi there, and welcome to episode number 3 of Story Shed. We are a storytelling podcast for children of all ages, adults too, guinea pigs, parrots, carrots, anyone who wants to listen, everybody's welcome. Each episode we will have a new and completely original story. We will tell the story on here, and then we'll have a couple of little helpers at the end to discuss the story. So if you are a teacher or a parent listening, please take the opportunity at the end of the podcast to pause and discuss the questions yourselves at home or in school. So this is episode number 3. Thank you very much for joining us. And the story this week is Moon Goose. So I think without further ado, we'll open the door and get started. Story Shed, episode number 3, Moon Goose. Goose wanted to go to the moon. If not straight away, then certainly soon. He wanted to stand up there and look back down on rivers blue and leaves of brown. He wondered what it felt like, what it smelt like. Was it hot to touch, or cold beneath his webbed and orange feet? It looked so peaceful hanging there, without a bother, without a care. No mud or rain or barking dog, no child or car or thick white fog. Just peace and quiet and gentle glow of earth a million miles below. "You can't," said Mum without a thought. "You're a farmyard goose, not an astronaut." "But," said Goose, "it looks so pretty." "So do the lights in the big bad city, where the cars and people can do you harm. No, no, my little goose, you belong here, on the farm." But Goose couldn't stop thinking, couldn't stop dreaming of the moon so wide and bright and gleaming. So one winter's night, when the farmyard slept, up got Goose and oh so quietly crept. Out of the shed he had always known, past the rickety fence and hedge overgrown, determined to reach the moon in the sky. He wasn't sure how, but he was going to try. Morning came, and Goose had roamed far from his home. However, it wasn't for long that he was on his own. He found some children flying a kite, diving and dancing. What a wonderful sight! Maybe this can take me up high and help me to reach the moon in the sky. So, praying for lift-off, Goose took the string between his beak. The children looked on, mouths open wide, unable to speak, as the string snapped in two beneath Goose's tight bite, and the kite floated and fluttered up, 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 and out of sight. Goose scurried off, his head held low, the children shooing and shaking, urging him to go. Soon Goose found himself near the city so big and bad. By now his spirits had sunk and his heart was sad. Until he came across a man selling balloons. Surely they can get me to the moon. Goose decided this time to speak to the man. So he waddled up, confident of his plan. "Excuse me, sir, but do you think—" Goose politely began. "Honk, honk, 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 honk," was all that was heard by the man. So he shooed him away and kicked out his feet. Goose scuttled off, easily beat. Further went young Goose into the big bad city. Mother was right. Up close it wasn't at all pretty. Nothing but concrete and metal, brick and plastic. To Goose this was anything but fantastic. He began to think longingly of his family and the farmyard. Journeying to the moon was beginning to seem far too hard. Suddenly Goose came upon a crane towering into the air. "Wow," he uttered, looking skyward. "I have to get up there. Surely then I'll be able to reach the moon, so plump and full." He jumped on the swinging chain and with his beak began to pull. Before long, Goose found himself at the top. However, he wasn't yet prepared to stop. Night had fallen, the moon had woken, and Goose's heart's desire had spoken. He reached out a wing, puffed out his chest, and stood tall on tiptoe. Alas, his hope was lost when he couldn't reach the seductive glow. "What on earth are you up to?" came a sudden cry. A seagull stood there, fixing Goose with a steady eye. It's the moon," Goose explained. I'm desperate to get there." "Then why don't you fly? You're a bird, not a fish or a bear." This was news to Goose. He'd never tried before to flap or glide or swoop or soar. The geese on the farmyard didn't fly, but Goose had never stopped to think why. So he glanced at the ground, and then he stared up above, stretched out his wings as Gull gave him a shove. He leapt off the crane with sparkling eyes as the wind caught his wings and he took to the skies, flapping then gliding, dipping then soaring, the wind all around rushing and roaring. "Look at me go!" Goose thundered with glee, narrowly dodging a solitary tree. "Next stop, the moon!" flapping more and more. And then in the distance he suddenly saw the outline of something familiar, something well known, a shed and a fence and a hedge overgrown. "Home," he whispered, forgetting the moon, and gliding to ground like a deflating balloon. Straight into the wings of his delighted mother, hugging him tightly like she had never another. "Hey, Mum," he began, "who needs the moon in the sky? I'm a farmyard goose, and guess what? I can fly." Okay, there we go. That was episode 3, Moon Goose. Thank you for listening. Once again, we are joined by Leo and Bel to answer a few questions. Say hello, guys.
Hi. Hello.
And again, a reminder, if you are a teacher or a parent and you want to answer these questions as well, just pause it whenever you want to and replay afterwards. So, first question, guys. What was Goose's greatest wish?
To go to the moon.
And why? Why did he want to go to the moon?
He wanted because it looked very pretty, and he thought it was quite peaceful and away from the city.
Super.
He thought it'd be nice and peaceful because he doesn't like the barking dogs and the mud on the farm. So he thought it would be good to go to the moon because it looks peaceful.
Excellent. And what did his mother think about his desire, about his plan to go to the moon?
Well, she thought that it wasn't such a good idea because, well, he said it was beautiful, but really, and she said, well, so are the lights in the city, but the city is dangerous. What that's trying to tell you is that she thinks the moon is dangerous.
Fantastic. Okay, then thinking about the story and Goose's adventure. How did he try to get to the moon? He tried to reach the moon, didn't he? He ignored his mother and he went off to try and reach the moon. How did he try?
First he saw some children playing with a kite, and he tried to hold on to the string, but he accidentally bit the string, so the kite flew away.
Super, that was one way. And another way?
He tried to speak to a man who was selling balloons, but all the man could hear was honk, honk, honk.
Thank you. And the final way, what was the final way he tried to reach the moon?
He climbed up a crane, but he thought he could reach the moon, but it was not that high.
Excellent. And who did he meet on top of that crane?
A seagull.
And what did he kind of learn from the seagull? What did he find out?
That he could fly.
Yes, he learnt that he could fly. So then what happened? Tell me about the end of the story.
he learnt to fly and he thought he was going to reach the moon when he was flying, but then he saw home and he realised home was where he belonged.
Excellent. Was he upset about not reaching the moon?
No, because he loves his family and he likes his home.
Excellent. So, finally, what do you think the kind of message would be behind this story? What do you think Moon Goose's message is?
If you want to do something really badly, on the way to that thing, you might discover new things you can do.
Excellent, like it, brilliant.
You can do more things than you think.
Fantastic. Well, once again, guys, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your help. And we will see you on the next episode. So say goodbye, Bel.
Bye.
And Leo.
See ya.
There we go. That was Moon Goose. Thanks again for listening, and thanks to Leo and Bel. Always wonderful. That was our third story here at Story Shed. Please get in touch with any feedback, or if you've got anything you'd like to share with us, any of your own stories, any ideas. We are Story Shed Pod on Twitter, and our email address is storyshedpodcast@gmail.com. It would be wonderful to hear from anyone out there. But in the meantime, thank you very much again, and we'll see you for the next episode. See you then.